Oh, there it is.
Welcome, everybody, to another Casio Artist Spotlight. My name is Mike Martin, and joining me once again, 820 miles to my east, is our co-host for these, Mr. Rich Formadoni. How you doing today, Rich?
Hey, Mike. I'm doing all right. Honestly, I barely even know what day it is anymore, and we're doing this one without headphones, so I feel kind of naked. And all I know is that when I first see my barber after all this, I'm paying him quadruple for what he's going to have to do to this topiary mess.
Yeah, the hair's getting long, and everybody's going to be rushing to the salons and barbers and all of that when this mess is all over. But hope things are doing well. Looks like, and just want to remind everybody, we are watching Facebook Live and YouTube comments. We see them throughout the broadcast, and today we have a really special guest. He's produced work for ESPN for the last 20 years. He's written or worked for Cyndi Lauper, The Temptations, and even Prince. He's appeared in the award-winning documentary 20 Feet From Stardom and collaborated with Cyndi Lauper for the Tony Grammy award-winning show Kinky Boots. He's even toured the world with the group The Family Stand, and lucky for us, he's been working with Casio for about the last 12 years as a demonstrator and artist. Welcome to the broadcast, Mr. Tom Hammer.
Tom Hammer!
All right. The audience was cheering actually here. I've never used this. We'll just add in a little cheer. Cheer sound effects.
Some little sound effects, yeah.
So,
Nice.
Welcome, Tom. I mean, I don't know that, everybody may not be aware that, you've been a behind the scenes guy for Casio for a long time. A lot of the videos that when we introduce a product, it's often you're the one playing the piano, not me or Rich, because when, we're often behind the cameras or doing other things behind the scenes, but when we need to get something done, you're the one we call. So it's great to have you here joining us today for this spotlight, because you certainly deserve to be in the spotlight rather than just behind the scenes. So welcome.
Absolutely.
Thanks. I usually hide away behind the scenes, but okay.
Not today, buddy. We got you front and center.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. All right. And lots of comments coming in from Facebook and YouTube. So thanks, everybody. So we'll be keeping an eye on the questions there. So let's dive right in. We've got some questions. Rich, you go first.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I was hoping we could take you back to vintage Tom, really early days, and talk about how you got started playing, because you're a guy that plays so well and can play so much that I think it's important that people gain from your insight. So what was the earliest memory you have of seeing somebody or hearing them that made you think, I'm going to be a piano player?
We had a upright in the house, and I'm the youngest in my family. My sister's 10 years older. And she took piano lessons. So that was really where I heard it to begin with. And it's kind of funny that when I turned 18 and I went to my guidance counselor in high school, he said, "Oh, you're 18, you can look at your records if you want." So I said, "Okay, I'll take a look." And I looked, my kindergarten teacher wrote two things about me: that I was curious and I loved music. And she nailed me at 6 years old. So. So yeah, there was always music playing in the house. My father loved big band music, Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, all that. He even had an Art Tatum record, which when he put that on, honestly, it made me feel a little uncomfortable, because you know what Art Tatum is like, and for a little kid to hear that chaotic genius stuff is just, it's like too much to handle. But I still remember, I see the cover, everything. So.
Wow.
So with music in the house and my sister and the piano being there.
When did you figure out you had perfect pitch?
I don't have perfect.
Oh, come on. You have an unbelievable ear.
No, not even close. I've actually had to work really, really hard on developing, keen relative pitch.
Mm.
Well, we have,
I
was going to say, we always have a lot of fun, when trade shows are going on and there's moments during the trade show where maybe it's a little quiet or before the show has opened, and sometimes even after the show is over, you're like a musical encyclopedia, and I always thought you had perfect pitch because you're able to pick up songs that anybody's playing and instantly go to the keyboard and playing it. It could be somebody playing something in another booth, and next thing I know is I look over at you and you're playing exactly the same thing.
I like jamming with the other booth. It's fun.
It's a sign of solidarity.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you can't beat them, you might as well join them for a little while.
There you go. You're a really multifaceted guy, and I'm sure having great relative pitch helps that. You do composition, you play live, and you tour with bands. So you've got all these different pathways in life where you can play piano and keyboards. Is any one of them most fulfilling for you? What do you enjoy the most?
You know, actually, what I enjoy most is a little bit of all of them. You know, I'll be playing with a band a bunch. You know, I also do a duo thing, and then I play solo piano, and you know, I write songs and, you know, produce stuff and record people. I really like a little bit of all of them. If I'm doing too much band stuff, it's, you know, as much as I love it, it's just loud and too much after a while. And then I'll do a solo piano gig, and I'm like, it feels like a breath of fresh air. And too many solo gigs, you sort of start getting a little lonely, and then, you know, you're back to a band thing. So I love the balance of all of them.
That's great. Speaking of being in the bands, in the early 90s and 2000s, you toured quite a lot. You toured, you know, the world, basically. So what was it like being on the road with the Family Stand?
It was great, actually. The first tour we did, we opened for Ziggy Marley, and that was mainly on the West Coast. That was like a 6-week tour. We were playing all these outdoor amphitheaters all the way up the coast, so that was amazing. And you know, we would warm up, play the first slot, and then I would just hang out and watch their band. And so many of the guys in Ziggy's band were from Bob Marley's band, and it was like such an education. It was great. Then another tour we did in Europe, we opened for Red Hot Chili Peppers on the
Nice.
the Blood Sugar Sex Magic tour.
Oh man!
So that was amazing. It was Henry Rollins, and them. So that was amazing. And then we did a bunch of shows over in Europe on our own for a while, and went to Tokyo, and it was good. You know, certain amount of time you sort of start getting a little restless and kind of want to be back home, but we were never out too long. So, you know, it was a nice balance also for that. It was good.
Sounds like you got a lot of good stories. Mike, Mike, I got to call it out. Our friend here is back.
Yeah. Oh,
we've got a guy who comes on to every one of these broadcasts and asks the same question multiple times. So, Tom, we've got to ask you. He's beaten us down. What is your favorite Casio?
Oh God, there's so many. I like a lot of them. Same thing. I like a lot of them for different reasons. You know, the XWP1 is so sort of, I wouldn't say, you know, not saying underrated, but there's so much potential in that thing. That the thing is great. I love that, and you know, the PX5 is my real workhorse for all the electric pianos and clavinet, and you know, again. So that's really my setup when I play live, is the XW up on top and the PX5 on the bottom. So I guess I'll go with those two.
Nice.
All right, good one. All right, so back to the questions. I mean, one of the things that keeps you really busy day to day is your work with ESPN. And can you tell us a little bit about how that started 20 years ago?
Yeah, the guy who became head of the music department there used to work at EMI Publishing, and the writers in the other people in the Family Stand had publishing deals at EMI. I had a publishing deal at Sony, but I was writing with them, so I got to know this guy. And then he bounced around after he left EMI and eventually ended up at ESPN. So I'd had a relationship with him for a long time. And, you know, that's really how all this stuff happens. You have to be able to deliver, but beyond that, you have to, you know, have some real connections with real people. You coming in blind, even if I would show people all my credits, they already know other people, you know. So It really helps to have, you know, good, strong, long relationships with people in the music industry. So anyway, he ended up there, and he had me do probably 10 10-minute-and-a-half instrumentals, which were actually for hockey, which is amazing because that's my favorite sport. So the first stuff I was doing for them was for the NHL, and the NHL used to be on ABC, and ESPN and Disney are all, the same family, and ABC. So that was amazing, and what a feeling it was when I would watch a game. They would broadcast games on Saturdays in the afternoon and hear my music in the back. It was just, I couldn't believe it. It was great.
That's awesome. And amazing. Absolutely amazing. So hockey, any other memorable things that come to mind over the years with ESPN?
Done some stuff for specifically for like NCAA basketball. I did one thing for Black History Month. Most of the other things are all 10 or 15 minute and a halves instrumentals of a certain genre. I've done stuff electronica music, dubstep, 80s sort of sounding stuff. The last thing I did was 8-bit chiptune music, which was really interesting. So I love it because I get to dig in beyond the playing. I love synths and I love programming, and unfortunately there's not enough time to do all of it sometimes, but when I get in that focus for the ESPN thing, I'm like digging into sounds, and programming and producing and arranging. So
awesome.
Is there any advice that you would have for somebody who wants to get their foot in the door working for a corporation like that, or how would you get started?
It seems like things have changed so much. It's really, these were relationships that I had from back when there was no social media, there was no internet. So it was really much more a one-on-one type of connection. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you. It's really changed so much. I don't know so much of it also has gone into music libraries. So that's what ESPN did for themselves. That's what the guy I know there decided when he got there. He wanted to create their own music library that they would draw from a lot, so they would not have to pay licensing fees all the time. So they'll still do use license like a Rolling Stones thing or a Chili Peppers thing or whatever for certain things, but in the background on SportsCenter they use mostly their own library music. So you could try to get in touch with a music library. That seems to be a bulk of a lot of stuff that's on television now.
All right. So
and used for commercials also.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a bunch of commercials too, and it's really nice to do a custom commercial because you are sculpting it to the drama of what the visual is. And it seems like a lot of times they just use library stuff, and it doesn't have the same effect as somebody scoring it for a particular scene.
Right. So I wanted to ask Cyndi Lauper. You've worked with her and collaborated with her a number of times over the years. Tell us a little bit about how that started.
That came through my manager, who knows her manager, and the first thing I did was played a show down in Florida. It was just solo piano and her singing. And, I went to her apartment in the city to go through the songs. We only were doing like 4 or 5 songs, like it was for a fundraiser or something. And they were all mainly ballads since it was just piano and her singing. And, I start playing, and just to hear her sing, people know her for her like wacky, zany stuff, but she kills a ballad. So, she's just standing right there singing, and it was really incredible. So I did that show, and then I did a television show in New York with her, also again just playing solo piano. A couple of years ago I did something out in LA with her and the band, some show that was on ABC, and other than that I've mainly written with her.
Wow.
And you did a little bit of work with her on Kinky Boots, right?
Yeah, so I co-wrote one song. Well, to be politically correct, I collaborated with her on one song. So it's called "Hold Me in Your Heart." It's the kind of big ballad towards the end of the show, and she had started it with somebody, and then wasn't happy, and then got me involved, and we finished it. And yeah, it's great. And I was, you know, to be honest, I was really surprised. We did the demo at my place, and I really thought I was a little funny about the ending. It ended a little too dark. Ended on a minor chord, and I sort of felt like it should be uplifting. So I really thought there was going to be, you know, changes wanted by the producers and everything, but it sailed right through. And then the guy who did some more of the arranging for it, you know, it ends really nice. It's really good.
Yeah, that's so cool. Such a big show. That must be so cool to have been a part of. You also did some work for Prince, and I was hoping you could tell us that story.
All right, so that's kind of a long story, but I'll abbreviate a little. So the group, The Family Stand, was three main people. I was like a sideman, and they were unhappy with their deal. So it was mainly a producer album. The two guys, and it's two guys and a girl singer, and well, actually they all were singers, and they were unhappy with the deal, so they broke the band up. And the girl was not a part of the original deal, so she was able to get a deal somewhere else. This was the whole plan. So I co-wrote and produced half her record. It was on Elektra. And the other two guys co-wrote and produced the other half of the record. So the record is done, and a huge sum of money. And the girl singer, was coming back from Jamaica from her cover photos shoot, and find out that the head of Elektra is gone. And who do they make head of Elektra but the woman from the other label that they were trying to break up and get away from?
Wow.
So not long after she took over, she dropped. Her name is Sandra St. Victor, is the artist. So they dropped Sandra. So then Sandra gets a deal at Warner Brothers, and Warner is where Prince is. So his original deal was kind of not just being an artist, but he was supposed to produce people also. So they thought it would be a perfect matchup with Sandra and Prince. So they sent, or actually I think he'd already had the album somehow. They sent Prince this album that never got released on Elektra, and he wrote 5 new songs to those songs, which in a weekend, with you know, basic tracks, but with vocals everywhere, pitch perfect, these harmonies, these tight harmonies. I mean, it was insane. I have the original demos. So one of the songs on Sandra's record was called "Sacrifice" that I wrote with her, and Johnny Kemp also wrote that, the Friday Night Just Got Paid guy. And that song he turned into a song called Soul Sanctuary, which is on his Emancipation record, which was a double album that he put out. And so that got on there. And then there were 2 other songs that I had co-written on Sandra's record that he also, you know, turned into other songs. One ended up on a Chaka Khan record. And yeah, that's it. So when that record came out, I had no credit. He only gave credit to Sandra and me, and they had to sue him. And I still don't have credit on the record, but they do. I ended up getting royalties, and they do have it right on Wikipedia. So.
Wow, absolutely incredible. So I wanted to, again, we're watching the comments on Facebook and YouTube, and it's mentioned a couple times now. Both John and Mark mentioned it, that you've got a great series of piano intros going on your YouTube channel that we've really been enjoying, where you take 25 8-bar piano intros and don't give the song titles, and now you've done I think 5 of these already. And that's why I referred to you earlier as like an encyclopedia.
6 with the electric piano one.
Oh
also.
wow. So
it's 150.
I'm going to run a clip of one of those, and after that we'll put up your YouTube channel on the screen, because these are incredible lessons for anybody, you know, playing piano. These are great songs that I think every pianist should learn to play, hopefully as well as you do. So take a listen, everybody. just as you went into the Cheers song. Sorry, I'm giving away the title there. But you should, everybody, please go check out Tom's YouTube channel. Just search for Tom Hammer up on YouTube. I think I can put it up here on the screen, maybe, if my computer will collaborate with me. Here's my...
I think if you probably put in Tom Hammer and the word piano, you'll probably find it.
There we go. So I've got it up on the screen so everybody can see it. But go like and subscribe. Learn from these videos. There's a whole bunch of them up there. They're really fantastic. So thanks for doing these and sharing them with us.
Originally I wanted to do like all the ones I know in one shot, and I did. I think I did like 100. I think I recorded it, and but it was like 27 minutes or something. Like nobody's going to just sit through 27 minutes. So I at least sort of packaged it a little bit differently.
No,
nice move.
Fantastic. And
Comment,
again, lots of people about the Prince comments and everything we've talked about so far, like, wow, amazing, and who knew? And some people some of our coworkers as well, that we've worked together for the last 11 years or so, and some of these things I never knew before. It's absolutely amazing. So thanks for sharing.
The Temptations thing is interesting too.
Need to hear that.
So I've written a lot of songs with Sandra St. Victor, who I mentioned before, and we had written this song. It's called Lady, and for this group that was a young group, guy group that was on Motown. So called Profile, and I think they probably only did 2 albums, and then they just kind of disappeared. But on the first album, we had this song Lady, and then I find out like probably a year later that in a week, the Temptations are coming out with an album, and they were covering that song. So it was amazing. It's like 1 week later, there it was in the store, and so that was that's why I was saying, talking before with you guys before this setup. Once you do have something out there, you never know where it may end up or what other channel it may follow. So it's kind of good to put stuff out there, and I think even with the putting things on YouTube or whatever, you never know who's going to come across it, and where else it might lead.
Do you remember what year that was with Profile?
Probably 96.
Okay.
Something like that.
I used to work for Motown back in the day at Universal, and I remember seeing them in the list of artists.
Yeah, with a Y in the P.
Yeah,
with a Y.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably not, maybe even a little bit later, but right around that era.
Right.
Very cool.
So another question coming in from YouTube, from Anthony Patterson. Weren't you in the documentary 20 Feet From Stardom?
Nice setup, Anthony. Thanks. Yeah, I'm a blur, but yes, I am in there. So that happened. Lisa Fischer, who's an incredible singer, if you ever get a chance to see her perform solo, she is, it's hard to even describe. She's just really amazing. And she's touring around. She used to, she sang background for probably 20 years with the Rolling Stones. She was her own artist early on and won a Grammy. Just a phenomenal singer. Anyway, she was asked to be in this documentary, 20 Feet From Stardom, which is about background singers. So she called me and asked me to accompany her singing a Samuel Barber piece because she wanted to sing with me one time, and then they were going to reshoot her singing all the harmonies, kind of to show what it's like layering harmonies. And they superimposed her each time. So I went into Manhattan. She sent me the piece. I learned it. I went in. We did it one take and was done. And then the producer said, Morgan Neville, who's an amazing documentary guy, said, why don't you guys just make something up? Like just play something.
Just do something.
Which really is I've never done that with a singer. I've obviously done it with, playing with a guitar player or a sax player where you can just
jam.
Let's
go.
Let's play something in E flat or something or whatever, pick a key or throw a couple changes out there and you get going. So this is really different. I've known Lisa a long time and we've written songs together, and we did probably 5 little things. One's kind of a moody thing. One's a little swingish kind of thing. I forget what the other one is, and they used 3 of them in 3 of them. Yeah, I think they used 3 of them in the movie underneath her scenes.
Wow.
Wow.
So, yeah, and they did a great job of what they picked and the way they edited it and everything.
Wow. So not only are you in it visually, but your creations are in it as well.
Yep. So that then when I told my manager that we had done that, he said, well, you and her wrote these, because we did. It was on the spot, but we wrote them. That wasn't really in the agreement of me being in the movie, this other aspect. So anyway, it was really good he did, because we got it squared away right away that
nice.
we were writers of those. And then this artist, Jack Garrett, who's on Island Records in UK, he sampled a little piece of one of those and put it into a song called "The Love You're Given." And if that hadn't been in place already, it would have been a nightmare to try to work out. Well,
Wow.
We created this, so and that's another example of something being out there and somebody taking it and doing something else with it.
Right, so I'm just going to put up on the screen just the screen grab of you in 20 Feet From Stardom real quick, if I can. Oh, I can't seem to. There it is. There you are, the beautiful blur in the background.
Good thing I have glasses. That helps.
The hair. That's what I remember. I could see you immediately because of the hair. So awesome.
I went to go watch it in the theater when it came out. It was playing in Montclair, and I was just like, I think that's me. I think that was really, really kind of humorous and funny. If anybody hasn't seen it, it's an unbelievable movie. I mean, it won Best Documentary that year. It's really, really incredible.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I've watched it a couple times, so it's a great one. Absolutely recommend it.
And that the producer got Lisa Fischer to. It's unbelievable how he got her to open up and expose all how she felt about not being comfortable out front. As dynamic as a singer as she is, she still feels more comfortable being a background singer. So.
Wow. So, I was hoping we could ask about another facet of you being a piano player. You've done some really, really awesome stuff, and one of the things that you do as sort of a mainstay is play solo piano gigs. And you're one of the guys who can get steady gigs at really nice places, restaurants, and so on. And, before the pandemic, and hopefully picking up where we left off, have you been seeing any trends in restaurant gigs? Has the business changed in a positive way over the years?
Has it changed in a positive way? I guess it's sort of finding the right situation. And I feel really lucky that I have found that. I guess for about 3 years now, I've been playing at this one Italian restaurant, and they have a grand piano there. They had a crappy piano when I got there, and they've gotten a nicer piano now. And it's I don't know, it just feels really comfortable. And, I guess it's just finding the right situation. And people really do appreciate live music. They really do. There's nothing like it compared to hearing something in the background through the speakers. There's a whole interaction and a whole connection.
Plus, in that particular restaurant, which we've been to, you see the piano as you walk into the lobby of the restaurant. So there's no issue. No matter where you are in the restaurant, you realize, that's not just music that's being piped over the speaker system, which it is in the different rooms because they've got a mic up there. But it's instantly recognizable that this is live happening by you throughout the restaurant. So it's pretty special.
And then there's another place I play, and they don't have the piano. They used to, but it was kind of old and beat up, and they ended up getting rid of it. And there I've been using the S3000, which, unlike the piano at the restaurant, S3000 is always in tune.
So
has the 3000 become your main axe?
Yeah, that as far as the 88, that and the PX5, depending on what I'm doing. But for the solo piano stuff, I've really been gravitating to the 3000. been great. I mean, it's just so great, and I mean, it just looks beautiful. I mean, I still can't get over how they fit all that in that box, beautiful box.
So I'm going to try and drop a video in here real quick because we talked earlier about you do a lot of things behind the scenes for us at Casio. And speaking of the PXS series, you helped us with the launch video for that product. And it's one of those things. I put you on the spot, much like the video we were just talking about, where I just said, just play something and I'm going to film you. No pressure. So let's take a quick listen to a few seconds of this.
When I composed something for
you did for the PXS 1000. You composed the theme. Da 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 da. There we go. That's my contribution to it. But anyway, so you've done that video, several PXS 5 or PX5S videos, countless NAMM demos, and more. But we always appreciate your contribution there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had another sort of unrelated question, if you humor me. I know you also did some composing for soap operas, One Life to Live and Guiding Light and As the World Turns. I'm really curious about that workflow because that's got to be some fast turnaround type stuff. They're writing the stories really quickly. How does that work?
Though that was actually, it was a little different than, it wasn't underscoring. So that was songs, and we would do these songs. I did that with somebody that I work with, and this was a while ago. Probably when was I doing that? I don't even remember. It might have been in the early 90s, it wasn't late 80s, or 90s, somewhere in there. And so they wanted songs in certain feel, like an R&B type of tune, whatever, and then they would use it in a scene where maybe there was a radio playing in the background or music coming through in a restaurant or something. So it was used as kind of background sort of real songs.
Gotcha. Comment just came in. What was your first impression when you first played the PXS 3000? Coming from the 5S to the 3000, what hit you first about it?
What hit me first? Well, before playing it, obviously the looks. You can't not be struck by the look of it. I don't know. It felt really comfortable. If that's a way to say it. The 5S maybe feels a little, I wouldn't say heavier, the action, but maybe just a hair bulkier. It's maybe a word to use. The 3000 just, I don't know, comfortable, really, really comfortable.
That's great. That works.
Yeah.
It's funny whenever we put when we see a Privia like the 5S or the PX160 or something by itself, it looks very small and compact and portable. But then you put the PXS next to it, and it's suddenly this giant hulking thing by comparison. Yeah. So,
I mean,
we shot ourselves in the foot.
I still couldn't get over that there wasn't something there, beyond the keys, where the rest of it.
And really, so when you do the restaurant gig with the 3000, are you just using the built-in speakers, or are you amplifying it further?
Amplifying it through two smaller EV speakers, running in stereo. It's so hard for me to play something like that and not run in stereo. The stereo just covers the room, the width of it. Those things sound amazing in stereo.
Roger Hooper just joined in. Said comfortable is a great way to describe that action. So
good. Took me a while to get there, but I got there.
So, I mean, you've been involved with Casio before I joined the company. I think about a year before I
Yeah.
joined, you were doing demonstrations for Casio. How have the access that been given to Casio instruments as a result helped you over the last 12 years?
Helped me. I mean, you guys, there's so many niches of types of keyboards that it's been able to work in any situation I've needed. And I've really gravitated towards the PX5S and the XW for my rock kind of setup. But then, then I also use the 560. I do a duo thing with, it's like a Bruce Springsteen unplugged type of thing. And I use that because I play some backing drum tracks on a few songs to get a variety. And I like that on the 560 because it has the big window and I can find my way around easy. So I'm bringing those in on a thumb drive. So basically any situation I've been in, there's been something that you guys have that's perfect for the situation.
So I have I forgot and just remembered that you sent this to me recently. I'm going to drop it here on the screen. This is an image from 2008 when you joined Casio at the NAMM show. And you are standing behind who?
Yeah, John Anderson from Yes. but the story, though, is that was the first year I went. And the NAMM show, anybody who's been knows that first year is the first time you go is just incredible, absolutely amazing, and overwhelming and exciting, everything good. And I was playing, and John walked up, and I was playing like Glad by Traffic or something, and he just starts singing Casio, Casio. And I'm like, here I am playing a Traffic song, and John Anderson is singing Casio over it. And then he sat down and played, and I just stood back and was in awe of that it was even happening. So,
that is the magic of NAMM.
Yeah. That is amazing.
He's so nice. He's come back other years. I haven't seen him the last couple of years, but anytime he comes, he always comes by the booth. And
you know what? I wonder if we'll be able to get him on one of these because he's been a huge advocate of Casio pianos for years and uses them everywhere, and he's still connected to a number of people at the company. So I wonder if we can make that happen. That would be fun.
Great.
All right. Looking at the chat window for questions, lots of great thumbs ups.
So as you can see, in general, I've done, I had a publishing deal at Sony. So for a long time, I was really just concentrating on writing and learning how to program. This is, I used a hardware sequencer for years before I finally got a computer. And it's been a long sort of journey, and all these different little, places where you can make music. It's great. There are a lot of different opportunities, and I'm kind of more of a jack of all trades kind of thing. But I love the variety.
Somebody just mentioned the video with Tom Brislin where we did Steppin' Out at the NAMM show a couple of years ago. I said, wasn't that Tom Hammer? So, yes, it was. Along with Jerry Kowarski, who's also watching the broadcast, he just commented. So he said, have Tom accompany John next time.
Tom, you mentioned Jack of all trades. I think that's a really, really apt title for you. And, as Mike said earlier, you're an encyclopedia of music to the point where we can, name a tune and pick a key and you can play it. And you're very difficult to stump when doing that. Were there any specific types of gigs that made you want to build up that huge archive of music in your head?
Sort of all the gigs, and being that I'm doing different types, I play in a Allman Brothers tribute band. So there's that whole blues rock style. And then I play in a Springsteen tribute band. Then I do the solo piano gigs. Then I do a duo gig with a percussion player who sings. And, any and all the gigs. And I don't know, I guess I like to sort of keep challenging myself, and I'll hear a song and I'm going, oh, that's a cool song. And I just have this, desire to figure it out, try to understand it and figure it out. And,
And you do what you, sorry, go ahead,
Sorry.
Mike.
Mark Emmett says, by the way, I was going to call you, see if you're available for a gig.
Sorry, Mark, I'm a little busy right now.
So,
Well, yeah, me, Mike, and Mark did that the Lovely Day thing.
So it's a perfect transition because you played at a Bill Withers tribute concert years ago, and I have a clip of that, which I'm going to run, and you can tell us about it afterward. In fact, you're playing a PX3 in this, playing Wurlitzer on a PX3. Let's take a listen.
Let me just set it. You starting it already?
Yeah, I'm starting it right now. Here we go. All right, and we're back. So, Tom, tell us about that. You played Bill Withers songs for Bill Withers.
Yeah, as incredible as that is. The whole thing was very surreal. So, the singer Sandra St. Victor lives in Holland now, and she has a relationship with Bill Withers and his daughter Corey, who's a singer also. And they put this whole show together. It was at the Opera House there, Carré, in Amsterdam, and it was with a 11-piece string section, so there were all string parts written out. We probably rehearsed for a week because there were so many different artists singing different songs of his. The show probably lasted close to 3 hours, and they bring him. They start the show. He comes walking down the aisle, and the whole place stands and applauds for him. It was magical. And then where I was on the stage, I had a grand piano and I had the PX3 for clav and Wurlitzer and Rhodes. And right across from me, he's sitting in the front row, and I'm there. How am I up here playing his songs for him? So it was very surreal. And then the show is over, and I'm on stage. Musicians are kind of mingling around, and I feel a tap on my shoulder, and it's him thanking me for playing. So, choked up about it. It's incredible.
What a trip. That's amazing. I'm glad you got to have that experience. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, we greatly appreciate you joining us on today's Artist Spotlight. You deserve to get the spotlight, and we're just thrilled at Casio to have you part of our family over here, and everything you contribute, not only up front but also behind the scenes as well. It's awesome. So
absolutely,
we're all taking piano lessons from you every time we see you, trying to steal a lick.
And I just want to, you guys have always been great to me, seriously. The relationship goes both ways, so really appreciate everything you do for me.
Awesome, man. Well, on behalf of Casio and everybody, thank you very much, and thanks everybody for tuning in to another Artist Spotlight. Do like and subscribe, share, do all those things. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it if you enjoyed this one and want to see the next Artist Spotlight. We're coming up next week, next Tuesday for the next one, so stay tuned. So on behalf of Casio, Mike, Rich, everybody, take care. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Bye.